Hi, I want to talk about heavy metal toxicity. Heavy metal, okay, so heavy metals, it sounds like metals, right? And they are, but they're essentially minerals, right? They come from these rocks that look metally, they shine. And you can get toxicity from a number of metals, more than, like a dozen. Arsenic is considered a heavy metal. Lead, antimony, uranium. Now, all these things sound foreign, but they're really not. A lot of them are in tap water, and depending on where you live, there could be an exorbitant amount of any one of the heavy metals in your water. So that's frightening. And then, I believe that the older you get, it's not about aging, it's about just having been around longer and being exposed to these things longer. And now, for the body to work properly, it needs to have a certain amount, it needs to have proper minerals, right? It needs to have just the right amount of regular minerals, let alone the poisonous ones. So you don't want to have high levels of the poisonous ones. Like, I recently took up shooting 5 months ago. I did it when I was a little kid, and I love it, but it doesn't love me because I believe I don't, well, it's not that I believe, I know I don't detox well. I have the MTHFR gene mutation, and so I also have blood type O negative, so that makes it harder for me to detox poisonous substances, and so I need extra help with that, and I'm using homeopathy right now because I have lead and antimony poisoning for shooting guns, no matter how much I like it, because it's an indoor range, and that's a whole other story. But I think about our vets, our veterans, and I think about all the veterans in the world and police. They're under so much pressure. And then, when you have heavy metal toxicity, which every police officer will have just from practicing shooting, if that's part of their line of work in the police force, which is most of them, and then the military, being exposed to all these different fires when they're in action or in a war zone, and all these toxins, and our guys that were, I'm gonna forget the place right now, but they were burning the oil things, and it's ugh. But it's something as simple also, so there are our heroes, right? Or the people that are supposed to be heroic and on the front lines and helping, when they have all these toxins and poisons inside of them. And depending on, it doesn't matter how well you detox. I mean, even if you detox really well, heavy metals like to stay in your body. They're not going to leave once you get them in there too easily. So they drive into your cells, they drive into your bones. So what's my point? My point is that, everybody accumulates this stuff. Maybe, maybe not antimony, I don't know. I can just speak from my own experience that at some point a few years ago, I had massive levels of arsenic. We don't know where that came from because my soon-to-be ex did not have any in him. And then took up shooting. So now I got rid of the arsenic through homeopathy, thank God. Thank God for homeopathy. I don't know if you all know what that is. I'll do more videos on that. I think I have some on here, but specifically shorter ones so that it's easier to comprehend and remember. So, what else? Yeah, so it's something as easy as when you move into a house, if you live or if you rent, if you live in a basement or on the first floor, you could get radon poisoning, or toxicity, which is uranium, right? It's another word for radon. Radon is from rocks. It's natural, but when a dwelling is on top of the ground where there's certain, I don't know, type or amount, I'm not a geologist, I don't know exactly, although I would have loved to have been a geologist. So I love rocks, man. I love rocks. So, and I lost a tooth because of all of this, because it affects your stomach. And I wasn't getting proper phosphorus or iron, which is a big deal, for years because of heavy metal toxicity. So, right. So I had bought a house at one point and had the radon test done, which is uranium, right? And it was fine. It didn't need remediation, which is done when there's high levels detected. And so, oh yeah, then I had the house redone. I redid the house. So much work went into that. I would never do that again. I don't advise anyone to do that because like all these modern materials suck. So like deal with it. If you have to wash your dishes or whatever, like just deal with it. Just replace your dishwasher. If it doesn't match, who gives a shit? And just like, the off gassing is incredible. And then like if you buy any new furniture, all the formaldehyde and like just things are just getting worse and worse as far as non-natural materials, right? And so what's my point? Just that, yeah, right. So I got all this uranium poisoning. Now uranium is what you get during like a nuclear meltdown, it's basically the same thing. It's radiation. So like, so sick, and I had no idea like what was wrong. And then like, how do you get this shit out of you? And thank God for alternative doctors and hair analysis tests. Now, minerals are like the most important thing, right? The Bible says you are the salt of the earth. They are the salt of the earth. Minerals come from the sea, right? And so they go up into a cloud, and the cloud rains, and then the plants grow from minerals. We eat plants, or animals drink the water, and we eat animals. But it's not really about what you eat, which I highly recommend you just eat the simplest of foods so that your body recognizes it, because your body is your temple. I'm going to do videos on like sugar. If you have trouble with sugar, there's homeopathy for that. Homeopathy is just so incredible. It's like this energy medicine that was America's first medicine, that we have like a monument dedicated to it in Washington, D.C. It's the only non-political statue there. Not many people know that. I'll do videos on that. So what's my point, right? I keep saying that. It's just that like I have all this information I want to tell you guys. Oh yeah, so I want to make mainstream getting hair analysis done by doctors, because if we are the salts of the earth, not if, we are, and we need to have a certain balance of minerals, like essential minerals. I mean, there's so much more than like a basic hair analysis test from doctor's data, but you need to have an alternative doctor who will test that for you. Why do we have to have alternative doctors? I mean, I love alternative doctors. Without them, I'd be dead today, for sure. But you have to pay for them out of pocket, and they should be paid for through insurance, and they should be lower cost, and there should be a declining scale, of course. I do have a degree in economics, and there's some good things about socialism, and we have to change a lot of things. Clearly, capitalism does not work. So I want to make hair analysis mainstream. I want to make checking minerals in the body mainstream, and checking for heavy metal or mineral toxicity mainstream. So I'm chelating right now through homeopathy, and it's kicking my ass, but it's worth it. And I know I'll be able to like talk to you guys better about it once I'm through it. And but as you chelate, even with homeopathy, it removes your good minerals. So like I'm constantly like trying to put more of the good minerals in while I'm getting these toxic minerals out. So it's a process. It's definitely a process, but it's totally worth it, because then you feel good and you can live life. Because like heavy metal toxicity, I mean, messes up your stomach, messes up your ability to assimilate food, because it's not what you eat, it's what you assimilate, right? It's like what you take in that your body can convert into the minerals that it needs. And yeah, so it messes these things up. And the process of that kind of functioning, but it does so much more, like neurological problems, like hundreds of things, right? Including some really important, I mean, everything's important, right? But like things that can affect your mind, things that can affect like your normal functioning, relationship stuff, like all kinds of stuff. And yeah, so there's so much more involved, but this is 11 minutes. But it's pretty simple if we just like knock it down and change a few things. And I'm also big on understanding the thyroid. I believe that's where like the doorway to life lives, and I think everyone has a problem with that. And I think that I know that iodine is so important for everyone, some more than others, even the ones that are hyperthyroid, but it just has to be administered in a different way than the hypos. I don't think that endocrinologists are testing properly. I don't see much testing of T3 free, T4 free, and T3 total. These things are really important. We took iodine out of the salt supply like 10 years ago. Why? Because they said that they were pretty sure, I guess the FDA, they were pretty sure that we all were sufficient in it. How could that be possible? You know, like how many people eat enough seafood and live by the sea to get that mineral? And without a proper balanced thyroid, there's like 35 million or billions, I think it's billion. Let me say million in case I'm wrong. 35 million cells that won't work properly in your body. So that's really important. I'll do another video on that, because the thyroid needs essentially 4 things that are really super important, or else you will not feel good, and it will lead to histamine intolerance and anxiety and depression and MCAS and all these, like, I call them modern chronic illnesses. Oh yeah, so the 4, if you want to know now, if you're still listening, are selenium, chromium, iodine. Oh, and sea salt. Sea salt's so freaking important, right? We should be like, they should be selling sea salt, iodized sea salt, because it doesn't have any iodine in it. But that's, again, I have that in other videos, and I'll make more videos. And these are just, from my experience, to you, for free, and for no fee. This is just what I did. You don't have to do it, but this is what I did. And my life is great. Even while chelating, which really sucks, it's still great. And it's going to be even better. All right. Love you guys.